Okay, very excited because we are joined by upcoming talent Kyle Smith, who is, well, he's riding a slightly different bike from the usual. It's maybe not your glossy, super duper brand spanking new bike. This one has come from Facebook Marketplace, but he is riding it superbly. So thank you very much for joining us today. And we're going to be talking you through his setup. Okay, Carl, so we're here ahead of the Collins Cup. You've had a pretty good season, right?
Yeah, it's been really good actually. It's kind of been my first, I guess, long course professional season. 2019 was my first ever half, and then COVID hit, and so that kind of put a halt to things, and I was back to working full time and finishing my uni degree. And so yeah, I think 6 months ago I was bricklaying and shoveling concrete, and then now we're here in summer, and so it's a bit of an insane experience.
Yeah, I mean, talk me through this. So, I mean, I know you from ITU days. You've had a very good ITU career, double world champion actually as well, and then you kind of launched on the scene in 2019 with a win at Taupo 70.3, and since then you've also taken some pretty impressive scalps, some very good athletes that you've beaten out there. I mean, I guess you've shocked some of them, but it's not like you've suddenly just made a living from it. And so, as you say, you've been bricklaying, shoveling concrete. Does that mean that kind of the pro triathlon career has been on, I guess, threatened a little bit?
Yeah, so I guess like the ITU career, it was, if you're not in the top echelons, it's pretty hard to make a buck. And being from such a small country like New Zealand as well, and we're locked down in the South Pacific now, it was pretty hard. And then COVID hit us pretty hard too. And so I hadn't really made any money, and just kind of living race to race really on prize money. And then kind of got to a dire point last year where it was like, well, either I go homeless and I don't pay rent, or I start working. And so I was finishing my uni degree and bricklaying as well, and building a house and stuff like that. And then kind of the PTO actually was kind of that glimmering ray of hope. They put up money for our local half like they did so many around the world. And I said, yep, sorry, not coming in tomorrow. I'm going to train for the first half of the season. And that was, I think, 4 weeks before the first half. And then, yeah, I managed to take the win there and the course record. And then that got me to the next half of the season and the next half. And so I think I raced like 7 times in New Zealand in the summer. And it was like just living race to race to race to make enough money to pay rent. And then this Collins Cup was on the cards as well. And I was just kind of hoping and praying that I'd be able to be selected, and yeah, here I am.
Oh, awesome. So let's talk about the bike, because as you mentioned already, not a ton of sponsors available in New Zealand. So this is actually your own purchase bike off Facebook Marketplace. It's actually had a few upgrades of late, but I'd love to just talk through that progression with you. So should we fire into this then? So the frame itself, it's a Scott Plasma. Yeah. And you picked this up on Facebook Marketplace for how much?
I think about 5,000 New Zealand dollars. So what's that, like £2,500?
Okay,
yeah.
It's a lovely bike as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, the story was that I'd saved up enough money to make it through the whole summer season of racing. But then I was riding a really, really old Cervelo P3 that was upgraded with parts from my road bike. And then, so when this popped up, I thought, nah, do I invest in a really nice bike and then actually have a shot at getting some race results? Or do I just kind of play it safe? And my girlfriend kind of talked me into buying it, and then I bought it, and then it's kind of paid dividends, yeah.
Awesome. So talk us through some of the parts on it, and perhaps what, you know, as I've said, you've upgraded some bits. So what you originally had on it and what you've changed on it now.
Yeah, so I guess it had just like the standard Scott aero bars. It had, it was just the frame set with the group set, so a Durace Di2 group set. So it was like, you know, it's actually a really good price for what it was really. And then I actually had 2 weeks before European Champs, I had a pretty bad bike crash. I crashed at 60k an hour and snapped the base bar and the aero bars and whatever. So the night before flying out to Europeans, I was in Decathlon buying a new set of aero bars for it and just kind of bolted it on and thought, you know what, we'll see what we can do. And then I broke the bike course record at the European Champs on that. So, and then yeah, then I got the call up for Collins Cup, and the amazing generosity of a few companies came on board and said, hey, we'll hook you up with some fast stuff. So
you got What Shot bars, is that right?
Yeah, so actually Hoob bought me the Watch Shop bars. They have the partnership there, and they came on board, so that's amazing. Parkours have supplied me with the wheels, and so I'm actually riding some fast wheels now, which is really nice.
And a disc wheel.
And
That's
a
awesome.
disc wheel, absolutely, yeah.
You had a disc wheel before, right?
I had a disc wheel before, but it had a hole in it, so I had to like duct tape through over the hole. Yeah, and then just kind of the chainring as well. We've got a 1x chainring from Pyramid Cycle Designs, and then SLF Motion sent me a new bottom bracket and a new oversized pulley wheel, which is really cool.
I mean, I've got to ask you about a few glaringly obvious things for me, being the bike geek. Firstly, we've got these little rubber things here. I'm not sure they should be there, but...
Yeah, so I picked up, so the guys from Pyramid were like, hey, we want to have a coffee. I was in the south of France in my town, and I was like, yeah, sure, that's cool. So I had a coffee with them the day before flying out to this. And then they said, hey, you've got some track chainrings, right? Because the normal chainring bolts wouldn't work. And I said, nope. So I went to the bike shop and I bought these ones, and they said, the bike shop said that they'd be the right ones, and then they weren't. And so then I've just made these little spacers from parts that I found in the garage.
Bands.
No, they're not rubber bands. They're like some kind of construction little washer. Yeah.
Right, okay. As long as it works and it's safe.
I hope it just has to make it through 80k.
And then obviously you had this crash ahead of the Europeans, and haven't quite got your shifter for the end of the bars yet.
Yeah, so the shifter here, the left side's fine, but the right side got busted up when I crashed, but it still works because if you press the button, it still works. It just doesn't have the cover on it.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, it's shifting gears, but I don't like to shift gears too many times, just go full tilt.
Nice. Anything else on the bike that has changed or?
Yeah, so actually this drink bottle, when I bought the bike, it didn't come with the integrated drink bottle, and the only one that was available in the world was from the UK. My girlfriend also has the same bike, so I borrowed her little one, so it was like from a size small, and it sat about yay big. And then I decided to upgrade it, and then I bought the wrong size. And so for Ironman New Zealand, I had to cut it down and glue it all together, and I had a bread bag inside of my hydration system to...
Very pro.
Very, very pro. And then it fell off at Ironman New Zealand because, I don't know, something was rubbing or this had fallen down or something, so I just ripped it off and then didn't have hydration for Ironman. And then actually, yeah, so when I got to Europe, I was like, I'm going to buy the proper one. And so I bought the proper one.
Good man. I'm so impressed. I mean, the bike splits that you have been churning out on, I mean, it is a lovely bike, but it isn't the top-notch fancy gear that a lot of the pros with Feature have. Rear hydration, what brand is this? None.
I don't know, it's a drink bottle holder from somewhere.
Cool. Now, you're setting bike course records left, right, centre. I think you've set a bike course record in every race, maybe bar one?
Yeah, I set every course record and a half, but not Ironman.
Yeah.
Starkey had Ironman New Zealand, and I couldn't really get that one.
I can let you off on that one.
For sure.
But the amazing thing is on a bike that is almost bodged together, and you did tell me earlier that the saddle and the cranks have been nabbed off your partner's bike.
Yeah, so thankfully my girlfriend's a pro cyclist, so she has nicer stuff than me. And so yeah, she's generous enough to share with me her nice parts. And so yeah, the crank, the power meter's hers, and then we've swapped crank sets for the week. So
do you normally have power when you're training?
I do, yeah, but just not a nice one. So I thought, we're going to do stuff like this, you need a nice power meter, right? And then yeah, the saddle is hers as well. I just find that one more comfortable than the one that I was riding. And also when I crashed, it all ripped up, so yeah.
Fair enough. Now I've got to say, despite it all being bodged together, I know we're joking about this, you've got a very nice setup. Are you getting any advice, or are you just pretty clued up on this stuff?
Yeah, so Hoob set me up with a call with Dan Bigham from Watch Shop. So he, the week before Ironman, basically gave me a shopping list of stuff, and he was kind of shaking his head and laughing at the equipment that I was on, and he was like, how are you riding that on that, you know? And it was just, you just got to put out big power and overcome the equipment. But yeah, so Dan Bigham had a call with me and basically gave me a shopping list, and then yeah, basically this is the shopping list, yeah.
Oh, amazing. Well, I mean, I think I should jump in here. If there's a brand out there watching this, then this is a guy to watch out for. I mean, yeah, if you're putting out the splits that you are on maybe less than ideal kit in some cases, then yeah, very exciting.
Thanks, yeah.
What's on the horizon after Collins Cup then?
So I kind of accidentally qualified for Kona.
As you
when
did.
I raced, yeah, that's going to sound very big-headed, but I raced Ironman New Zealand because it was in my hometown, and I've done first of every distance in Taupo through the Trisport Taupo Club there, and then did my first sprint Olympic, and then I debuted my half Ironman, and I thought it's only fitting that I'm going to do an Ironman at some point, and you don't know when the next race is in this day and age, so I thought I'll race Ironman New Zealand. And then I kind of just raced Ironman New Zealand for somewhat a bit of fun, and I came home third and thought, yeah, that was a really enjoyable experience, like it was super cool, but don't really want to do another one too soon. And then I got the call up the next day that they said, hey, do you want to go to Kona? And I was like, well, I've qualified now, I kind of have to go. And so yeah, I qualified for Kona, and then I said, if I'm going to do Kona, I'm going to do it well. So all this year, I guess, has kind of been primarily focused on this and Kona. But that being swept under the rug now for until February, I've kind of decided that I'll go do 70.3 Worlds in St George, and then after that, actually maybe a return to short course racing. Maybe I'll try and race Bermuda WTS and Abu Dhabi. So instead of racing an Ironman, it's now going to be a super sprint.
So diverse. Now, obviously coming from ITU racing, you've done the full spectrum here. Any learnings as you've kind of gone up in the distance in terms of pacing or even setup-wise on the bike?
Yeah, I think the big one for me is nutrition. Like, I raced the first half on like, a few gels will do, like, you know, and that'll be fine. And we kind of worked out that, you know, this will be fine. And then even this year, I had a pretty scary moment at Tauranga half where 3Ks to go. I had a 5-minute lead and I started wobbling and had to kind of stumble home for 3Ks and won by 5 seconds.
I remember that actually.
Like that over the line. And then I thought, okay, this nutrition game isn't to be taken for granted. And so just to eat more and drink more and stay on top of things, yeah. That's
awesome.
Probably my biggest one. And yeah, just be smart about racing.
Well, Steve, it's been great talking to you today, and just fascinated by your career. I'm really excited to see what's to come. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If so, please do give it a like, and don't forget to give us a subscribe just down below.